And welcome everyone to our first Trades Tomorrow 2025 panel. I'm very happy to be joined by Avery, who is a welder apprentice, and Jada, automotive service technician apprentice. Welcome to both of you. Thanks for being here. Avery, I want to start with you. Tell everyone, how did you first become interested in welding? And for you, what's been the biggest or one of the biggest personal benefits so far?
So I'll start with how I became interested in it. I actually come from a farming background, and my grandpa used to have a welding side gig business. And from like when I was little, I always was fascinated by the sparks and flames. And then about 6 or 7 years old, he kind of passed the torch down to me to start to learn, and I really enjoyed playing with fire. I know it sounds kind of interesting, but it's a feeling I can't describe. And I started to learn things and catch on to them very quickly from him. And I was really close with my grandpa, and I wanted to follow in his footsteps. And so, a big benefit now at 18 years old is I can do all welding on vehicles, farm equipment, and I can start up his business and keep that Zondervan legacy going.
That's great, Avery. That the spark took flame for sure. That's wonderful. Jada, how about yourself? How did you become interested in automotive service?
I would say I'm exactly the opposite of that. I honestly didn't have much of an interest in vehicles really, but it was kind of an impulse decision on what I did. I know we would bring our vehicles there all the time and whatnot, and I just really like the guys and the environment there. So I decided that, maybe I'll try it out and see where it takes me. And yeah, it's kind of given me the ability to educate people on vehicles and have an experience where I can learn about them more.
Awesome. And Avery, you I know are in I think your third year in the
Yep.
Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program. Can you say a little bit about how that experience has been so far?
So now that I'm at a high school, the experience is two different things. But in during high school with the OYAP apprenticeship stuff, it brought a lot of opportunities to me for getting a proper co-op, getting hours for the near future towards a red seal. And it really benefits when you're looking for a job. A company like welding companies specifically and unions recognize OYAP, and it definitely gets your resume on the top of a stack. And I overall have nothing bad to say about OYAP. It has benefit me very well. Like graduation, it can lead you to a lot of scholarships and awards that also help your future.
For sure. I like that you pointed out that you can stand out on a stack of resumes when many people of similar ages have sort of the same types of jobs. Yours is really distinct.
Yep.
Uh, Jada, for you, going in high school and going to a place of work, what's that been like?
It's been really good, actually. I have always liked working hands-on more than being in a classroom. So the ability to be able to be out of the classroom and working every day, it's great. I love it.
And can you say a little more, Jada, about being in automotive service and of what you've observed so far? Is there any common mistakes that maybe people make while maintaining their vehicle that you've discovered?
I find that people make a lot of mistakes when it comes to upkeep. I find that usually people think it's the basic, oil change and top up your fluids every now and then kind of deal, but it's definitely a lot more than that. Um, It surprised me when I started. I know that I thought it was that at the start, topping up the fluids, basic oil changes, whatever, but it's definitely been a whole lot more than that.
Hmm.
And I think that to avoid that, ask your mechanic what they think you should do to keep upkeep and stay consistent on maintenance is definitely my opinion.
Awesome, great advice. And Avery, some people think that welding is just about fusing metal together. I think it's a little more than that included, of course, but what else? Can you say, you said mention a little bit at the beginning, but what's something that might surprise people about welding?
Um, so if you are going into a shop or a field, it's not just like fusing metal together and playing with fire all day. You actually make a whole new family. You are part of brotherhood, sisterhood, and those are people you will spend most of your time with more than a family at home. And those are people you can rely on 24/7. I don't think it's just about the work. I think it's just the family side of things. You make a whole new bond with people.
Right. I don't think a lot of people would have expected that answer. It's the people. Do you feel that way too, Jada? Being around a great group of tradespeople?
Definitely, I do feel that way.
And Jada, what have you noticed so far that what does it take to get really good as an automotive service technician? What are some advice you've been given to excel?
I think personally, just from experience, that patience is definitely one thing. I think that goes for most trades, really. Dedication as well, being able to get up every day and work, and definitely confidence. I think that walking into a place, especially as a girl, you've got to have confidence around guys, even women. You really got to go in there and have a drive to do what you're doing.
Okay, yeah, we'll touch on that subject a little later, being a female in the trades. Patience, dedication, confidence, Avery. That's what Jada says.
She
Uh,
read my mind, that's for sure.
so say a little more from your perspective.
My perspective of things is pretty well the same as Jada's. You have to have a lot of dedication to get up every day and have tough skin to deal with a lot of men in a male dominated industry. Like, it's definitely not the easiest in the world, but it takes a positive mentality, dedication, and tough skin for sure.
Okay. So sticking with the subject of what each of you do, Jada, cars are becoming more and more advanced. It's like computers,
Mhm.
full screens in some cars now. Has that changed the way you work? Sort of advanced technology? What have you observed?
I think that partially it has, but just when I started at the shop, I find that I was kind of used to it. Like someone from my boss, for example, who's been doing it for so long that he kind of has hard time adjusting to it because he's used to old antique cars and whatnot that have none of that technology. But I think that as technology advances, the machines get more complex, and it's kind of that's hard to adjust to sometimes because some of them can be very difficult.
Okay. And Avery, I read online that you're on your way to becoming a boiler maker,
Yeah.
which someone told me was a type of beverage, actually. But I don't think that's the type that you're looking to become. What
No.
does a boiler maker do? I'm sure many people are not familiar with it. And what drew you to that career?
So I'll start with, what does Boilermaker do? So there is two sides to a Boilermaker. There's a construction Boilermaker, which is a lot of rigging, less welding. You're on the tools. It takes a lot of mechanical aptitude. And then there's a pressure systems welder. So you're working on pressure vessels, anything under pressure. And it's more welding, less tools. You still need a mechanical aptitude, but a little less than the construction side of things.
Hmm.
And what drew me into the Boilermakers was I had a welding teacher named Tanner Siebert, and he was telling me about the field stuff that he ended up doing. And then I got put in a co-op at Specialty Machine and Fabrication, which is a Boilermaker 128 shop, and they strictly do pressure systems welding. And I was a co-op student there, and so I started really taking an interest in that stuff. And only thing is, I wanted to go to the field. I liked what Tanner had talked about more than the shop work.
Okay. I like hearing when a teacher at some point played a role in helping a student kind of go into a certain field, and that seemed like a part of the case with you. Okay, let's talk about some myths or misconceptions that people have about your trade or the skilled trades in general. Avery, is there anything that you'd like to correct the record about?
Everybody thinks it's sunshine and rainbows. I can tell you, it's definitely not, especially being a male or female, young or old. If you are starting out as a first year apprentice, you get the horrible end of the stick each time. You get the blame for everything. It does not matter. It is a rough life as a first and second year up until you get a journeyman. And once again, it takes a lot of tough skin and a very strong mentality.
Good, that's good advice. And you know what? I think that's not just unique to skilled trades too. I think other fields when you're starting out, You have to grind harder, and for sure, you're under that pressure. But it's good to know that that's in skilled trades. So, Jada, you were nodding along for sure with Avery there. Is there anything else you'd like to add about any misconceptions or records that you'd like to correct about the skilled trades?
I would have to agree, actually. Some people think it's boring. It's very all over the place. You could have very good days, you could have really bad days, so it honestly differs. But I also think that a lot of people think you need a lot of education for the trades, and I definitely don't think that's the case. You can make a lot of money without having a very high education in it. So yeah.
Yeah, I like that. There's a great phrase. It was apprenticeship is post-secondary education. It is another type of education. It's just one that doesn't happen to require a degree
Right.
or a master's and long periods of time in large classrooms, right? You could just get right to it. What is it like being a woman in a traditionally male-dominated field? I'll start with you this time, Jada. We've touched on it, but say a little more.
It's definitely been a challenge, especially when I first started having, you almost like you have to earn respect. And a lot of people kind of judge you at first, and it's like, oh, she's a girl. It's kind of maybe she won't be able to do what the guys do, for example. And I think that I've definitely butted heads with a lot of guys at the shop, and it's definitely back and forth kind of deal. But once you have the confidence to go in there every day and show up for work and work, they earn respect for you, and then kind of lay off and cut you some slack.
Right, right. And Avery, how about yourself? You've been at this for 3 years now. What's it been like being a woman in a mostly male-dominated field, welding?
Hasn't been easy, that's for sure. I've experienced all sorts of things from men, as Jada said. It's definitely ain't no rest for the wicked, that's for sure. And you gotta have, once again, a strong mentality about things. You gotta take things with a grain of salt. You do have to work 10 times harder than what a male would have to do. You get put down like constantly. It takes a lot of confidence, but once you have that confidence to walk in there and just start to try and get along with everybody, just my advice is kind of keep to yourself, work hard, prove to everybody that you're not your typical female, as what they'd call it. But yeah, that's about it.
Great. I mean, you're both speaking to an issue that's come up in research too about most workplaces, but including skilled trades, it's around men working among women, but also women developing self-respect and self-confidence through their work. And it's great that you're showing that that can be done. As you continue both to develop your skills, what future career opportunities are available? Jada, how about you? You're just sort of getting familiar with automotive service. If you wanted to pursue it in the future, what could you do?
I think it kind of opens a wide variety of opportunities. I'm not really too sure if I want to continue with the automotive kind of sector of things. So it could open me up to many, many things, really. It gives me an opportunity to test out the trades and give me an idea of what it could be like. I also think that even if I don't end up doing this, it gives me the knowledge to be able to educate people on vehicles and stuff that, anybody needs to know. I also do think though that the learning experience that I've gotten through this, even if it's not the same trade I end up getting into, it still gives me the kind of work related similarities. And even if they're not related work wise, it still gives me the knowledge of being able to like apply them.
Definitely. It's a great advantage, especially in high school, try out a skilled trade. That's one thing that I think more people need to remember. These apprenticeship programs in high school, you're not locked in. You can try something else and see where you go from there. Avery, we talked about Boilermaker. That's the goal right now, but anything beyond that that you've given some thought to?
So welding has different sectors of things. Like you can be on quality control, you can be inspecting, you can be doing X-rays, but there's also pipe fitters as well. So it opens up all those different careers. Like I know I might not stick to welding forever. Like I might move to the teaching side of things, maybe teaching welding or even doing quality control, doing inspecting.
Great. I love that you mentioned teaching. A lot of people are surprised when they meet a teacher and they happen to learn they have a skilled trades background. Teachers go into education too. So last question, Avery, I'll start with you. What advice would you have to students who are interested in the skilled trades, but maybe their parents aren't so supportive?
Some advice I would have as a student, in high school, you have guidance counselors. You have your skilled trades teachers for your trades classes or tech classes. Um, Use those as connections. Talk to them. Use your connections with the guidance counselors. Or if you are active on social media, make a social media post in like a community group. Hey, I'm wanting to learn this. Any leads or any help? And take as many tech classes as you can and take your teachers, guidance counselors, peers advice. You aren't necessarily needing your parents. You are your own person. You are on your own path. So if you are really that dedicated to what you want to do for a trade, use your guidance, peers, social media, etc.
Great answer. Thanks, Avery. And Jada, for any students interested in the trades, but maybe their parents aren't so supportive, what advice do you have for them?
I think that if it's something you truly want to do, just go for it. I also think that even if you're unsure about it, the opportunity is there for you to try it out for a reason. So you could try it out, test different jobs, whatever, to see what you want to do after high school. And then when you're out of high school, you don't have to commit to a job you absolutely hate. So this whole program gives you the opportunity to try it out and see what you like.
Fantastic. Well, Jada, Avery, you inspired many, many people, especially young women, today. So thank you both very much, and all the best to you, whatever you end up doing, Jada, and Avery. I'll be following your career for sure. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank
Thanks to
you.
you both.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, and next up will be our second panel. Stay tuned.